So globally, there is statistics that 1 in 5 people are dropping out of workforce due to caregiving responsibilities and uh, not having adequate support either in their support systems or at their workplace. Um, then there is a lot of data in the US context. I was just looking at it a while ago in terms of the percentage of people who are dropping out, the fact that because people are in caregiving roles while in a working environment, they are there is they have to either shift their job profile, or they have to take a lot of unannounced leaves, or absenteeism happens, or they have to reprioritize their whole working timings. And there are many other challenges which happen when a working professional is it's true, actually, not only for a working professional but for anybody who is in a caregiving role. And but it becomes a little harder when you are in a dual role. You are working as well as you're caring for a loved one. Now you could be working because there is a monetary aspect to your job. Then there could be aspirations as well. We all have career aspirations, and there are certain goals which we have, which we want to achieve in our personal lives. And sometimes when you're done with the responsibility of caregiving, there are breaks to it. And then there is a lot of dilemma, and uh, you know a lot of conflict which happens. And we will talk about all this, which results in us, many of us, giving up either one of them, or just saying that that's all they will do is do caregiving. And uh, I'm not an advocate of that, because I think compromising one way or the other is just going to make you much more unhappy and sadder. And at some point of time, there will be a lot of resentment and regret that you chose a certain path and did not achieve what you wanted to achieve. So the context of this conversation today, that's why we have some great panelists with us who are going to really talk about their caregiving journey and how they have navigated this whole space, while keeping their personal aspirations also, in line, maybe a little slow, or maybe they have taken certain steps, but they are also successful in what they are doing in their personal work lives as well. So I would, and this objective of this webinar is to motivate everybody who is coming, who has joined us today, to get some insights from our distinguished panelists, and hopefully, be able to realign certain things, reprioritize their lives to be able to navigate the journey which they are, dealing with. So I would like to introduce my colleagues, and I have with me Lavanya Kaul. She's a associate vice president with LTI Mindtree, and she's currently today joining us from US. Thank you, Lavanya, for coming in at such an early hour. And I have with me Gaurav Gupta. Gaurav Gupta is a research analyst, and he is also availing some of Samvedna services. And then I have Karuna. Karuna is a technical architect and a senior consultant with TCS. And we will hear more about each one of them as we go through this journey. So let me just, as a quick ice-breaking activity, I would like all of you to just type into the chat window as to when you talk about caregiving, what is the first word that comes to your mind? Is there something which strikes you? Can you just type it in the chat window? Love, wonderful. Never ending. Okay. Patience, wonderful. Empathy, yes. Overwhelming. Beauty, compassion. Okay, great, great. Tough, right, right. Yes. So, anybody else wants to share? Okay. So, yeah, and I'm sure that there are many more emotions which come to our mind when, when we think about caregiving. And I would, I would like to thankless work, absolutely. So I would like now to request each one of you, to please share, your personal journey in terms of whom you're caring for, and, how has it been? What are the challenges you have faced? Just as an introduction, before we get into some further questions. So maybe I can start with Gaurav. I can start with you.
Okay. So yes, thank you once again for inviting me. My father has been diagnosed with Alzheimer's and dementia for past 2 years, and we heard about Samvedna. The challenges I would not see. I've been fortunate that I operate from home, so my work-life balance anyway is a bit more balanced than others. But yes, during the initial days, we had these issues of I would be on an important client call, and my father would just walk in and start talking to me, and it was kind of difficult to manage it. Uh, and the second part is more emotional in the sense that someone who you have always seen as a authoritative figure all your life, and just to see him transform into a small child, that is more overwhelming than probably anything else. So these were the challenges that I encountered, especially during the early stages. But as time passed, I also kind of realized, and there is a kind of a sense of understanding now. So things have got much better.
Okay, thank you for sharing that. Lavanya, would you like to come in and share your journey?
Sure, Ajna. Thank you, everyone. Thank you for having me. I'm a mother of 2 children. I have a 21-year-old son and a 17-year-old daughter. So my daughter got diagnosed as dyspraxic when she was 3 years old. She's 17 now, as I said. Over the years, I think we have had multiple diagnoses. We always, I mean, even as a child, I think we did know that there were some delays, developmental delays, which all were kind of making us question, is there everything right with her? With the 3 years old diagnosis, it kind of made it clear that she needed more support. And down the line, I think she also got diagnosed in the last, when she was 13, she was diagnosed as autistic. And the last couple of years have been much more challenging with further conditions coming into the whole spectrum. So she's also been diagnosed as condition called PDA, which is called pathological demand avoidance. And also she has sensory processing issues. So while she is functional and verbal as a child, she does look as a neurotypical person, but you would, I mean, it only comes out in different situations as to what her challenges are. So that's what I'm trying to say is that I myself kind of figured that I am a caregiver, not just a mom, only in the recent years when the demands have kind of been getting multifold, and we really don't know what is coming because it's a journey which we have to go through. I don't know if it's going to get worse, better, whatever, because it's kind of an ongoing journey. So that's the role which we are playing as caregivers. So the kind of challenges, as I'm kind of talking about her condition, we really don't know what is the end state going to be, or where is it that we need to go from here. Is this all the kind of challenges she will have, or is there going to be more to come? Because, as I said, we have been trying to work with her as independent functional kid. That was going on for the early years. We tried to kind of work with her to kind of get her going till she was 6, 7. She was getting to be as independent, and things kind of, as she starts growing up, the demands are much higher on the child, so that starts having an impact on the child. And since she was 13, things have kind of started going a spiral. So basically, she appears as a fully functional kid from outside, but internally she cannot operate, she cannot function without help. So it's it's a bit of a very complex situation. So that is what the kind of challenge is. So the challenge which I face is, as a full-time consultant, I'm an IT consultant working in a corporate thing. So I need to be flexible to be available for her in an unpredictable situation which she is going through. She's, to simplify it, I mean, she's a toddler who needs 100% support to get going in life. So that is what we are dealing with. Sorry, I took a bit more time because I was trying to explain the condition. It's not
That's perfectly
fully aware. Yeah.
No, I think that's a very important point. I think a lot of caregivers struggle with this question about what's going to come next. And we also face this question very regularly from the people who come and meet us. And that's a very hard question to answer because I think everybody's journey is different. Yeah, Karuna, would you like to come in and share your introduction?
Thank you. Thank you, Samvedna team, for organizing sessions of this sort regularly. That makes, all our individual personal journeys more like community journeys, and a lot to learn from everyone's stories here.
Can you be a little louder? Just a little
okay.
louder. Yeah.
Okay. I hope it's better now.
Yeah.
So, chronologically, clinically speaking, 2 years back, my mother, who is 75, has got into a depression. My father, who is 83, around 6 years back, was diagnosed with dementia, started to show signs of dementia. But when you talk of the caregiving journey, Archana, I was just thinking, when I was in kindergarten, my maternal grandfather, he had his leg amputated, right? And my mother and all of us shifted to my maternal grandparents' house to take care of them. Then a few years later, my grandmother was bedridden for 2 years. Again, a caregiving aspect, right? Later, my father-in-law, my mother has been going through a clinical eye condition called uveitis, which deteriorates the sight. So in my late 20s, she's lost her vision completely. I got married. My father-in-law is having hearing loss. So what I'm just trying to say is the caregiving journey has been ongoing. It's been ongoing. When when you say when technically it is started, when do I identify myself as a caregiver? And I acknowledge that my mother has been a caregiver for her parents. My father has been a caregiver for my mother. And now it's, I think, last 5, 6 years, because of dementia, the mental health conditions demanding a different kind of caregiving that we are not prepared for. Right. That is where the challenge has been, not knowing and then trying to understand, learn, research, discover, talk to others, and gradually navigate through it by, as one of the other panelists, being flexible, and then learning to gracefully accept the situation. Every day is a new day. I would just say till yesterday, my journey was successful. I'm learning each day. We're learning each day. Right. And there has to be a community, you bounce off your thoughts on your friends and family, and you get support from unexpected corners and advisors, which is can simplify things a little bit, not that they solve, but they can make your journey a little easier. Right. I think the challenge has been for me to accept that, coming from a typical IT world, you see everything as a project. You see your child as a project. You see your parents, some health issue as a project. So it started off with that kind of an outlook that, I'll take a 3 months off, do this. That's when I reached out to Samvedna, I did some sessions and all. And I said, oh, this is not working. Do I extend another 3 months? Do I take, off from work? And then gradually dawned on me, it has to be balanced. You can't, that's not the way. You just can't leave one for the other. It's not worth it. It's not right. They would not be happy. You would not be happy, as you rightly said in the beginning. Yeah. So I keep telling everyone I have 2-year-olds, I have 2-year-olds here. I have another set of parents-in-laws there. So the minute you start to look at them as toddlers, I think things simplify. It's just that you have to accept them as toddlers.
Right. So, wanted to ask you, one of the biggest challenge as a caregiver is that accepting the reality of the situation, So, like Lavanya, I know you have a daughter, and caring for a child is very, very special because there are so many aspirations and dreams. So, like when you first realize that, this is been diagnosed as whatever XYZ, and that it's going to be a long-term care. So how much time did it kind of, take you? If you don't mind, just sharing for others who may be experiencing similar things, like how long did that journey take, and for you to accept the situation?
True. It's been an interesting evolving journey, right? I think naturally, when as a parent you get to know that the child is special, she has special needs, you can only be in denial, right? I think you really don't want to kind of accept it, though you knew even before diagnosis, you could sense that there is things which is going to be that way, but you don't want to accept it. So it was, I mean, we were, I'll give you this if that helps. As I said, she was given the diagnosis as dyspraxic. And at that time, we were told that, okay, she's not autistic. It's somehow that kind of gave a bit of a sense of comfort, to be honest. It was that unawareness of what the whole spectrum is gave me that comfort at that point of time. So that is a denial. Though I knew she was on the spectrum, we could see the signs of all of it because it was a misdiagnosis, to be honest. And 3 years, they only said it was dyspraxia. And 13 years, they said she should have been diagnosed as autistic at 3 years itself. But even though as a parent, we knew she was kind of on the spectrum, but someone said dyspraxic and we were happy to go with that because of that denial mode, right? I mean, it is not easy to kind of accept that, okay, it is. And again, it was the unawareness. So the more you start to learn about the condition, then it is. So probably at least for many years, when it was 3 and then even 4, 5 kind of, when she was at least a couple of years, it took us for us to kind of accept that she is truly a special child. She needs that kind of a thing. So, but as things kind of actually regressed in our case, I mean, like it kind of progressed. We started helping her in the condition. So things were kind of getting into a much more controlled manner for 4 or 5 years. And after that, it has been going a bit south. So that's when that acceptance, kind of true acceptance, probably has come in, if you ask me, only in the last couple of years when things have gone really south. So now I'm able to kind of tell you that I know that I'm probably prepared for worse, much more worse things, though I don't wish for it, but I think there is an acceptance. So it's a continuous journey. That acceptance doesn't come quickly.
Gaurav, you mentioned that your father was a doctor.
Yes, he is a doctor. He's still a doctor.
Yes, he is a doctor. Yes. So
Yeah.
how much, what was your journey in terms of accepting his diagnosis?
We, in a way, kind of see, it's dementia is something which runs in the family. So awareness was already there because My father is a doctor. My grandfather was a doctor. So we are a family of doctors. I'm the only dark horse, so to say, that I couldn't see blood. So I did not go into medicine. Um, but we all knew it, but they all had it. Uh, so awareness was there. Acceptance, in a way, was also. See, I think the sooner you start accepting it, the sooner you start realizing it, it's easier that way, because then you can start taking responsibility, you can start taking actions. As Lavanya said, that yes, of course, you have to prepare for every situation. But the thing is that you just try to do your best. I would just simply say that you can't do everything. I think what I learned very early on was that I cannot manage everything on my own. I need to seek help. I can't just rely on Google also. Uh, I need to go out and need to find out what best I can do, not for anything else, but to improve his quality of life. Uh, I can't extend anything. I can't extend his lifespan. I can't extend, or I can't even find a treatment. At least till now, there is no treatment. So I knew that. The only thing I can do is how best I can make his life be what it is till the time, and then hope for the best. Again, the thing is that it doesn't deteriorate too rapidly. It stays where it is. So that kind of an acceptance came on very early to me. Probably because of awareness, probably because of the fact that we knew that something that like this might. In fact, my father also used to talk about it, because again, his father had it. So he would always talk about it, that we have to be careful. Now, the thing is that even if he said so, so I tell it to myself also that I have to be careful. So we'll go into the aspect of how we can be careful. We can't simply just do a kind of a patchwork mechanism to be careful. We really need to be more aware. We need to be more mindful of what we are doing. Uh, I think that's all I can say at this point of time.
Right, right, right. Karuna, would you like to share?
Yeah, I think my sister's father-in-law was diagnosed with Alzheimer's. So we kind of were hearing him before we came to know about my father. So we kind of started to match the symptoms. I said, okay, so we realized that he has always been independent, totally in control person. He's been someone who's been more busy after his retirement than before. You know, would always do something. His passion for wanting to still do something, I have to still achieve something in life. You know, that's how he talks even today. So we knew what it was. So, and then we knew that we had to kind of manage it, control it, do things. My sister is an acupuncturist. So we started to take that treatment. We knew we would need some counseling sessions. We need to, get him onto Sudoku and things like that. So we were taking some things of that sort. But I think we were not really accepting the situation still. We were like fighting. And, a lot of energies were going in the wrong direction. And my mom, as I said, she lost her vision around 25 years back completely. And we somehow accepted that very gracefully, because I think the way dad managed her, and it didn't happen overnight, it happened very gradually. So someone would say, your mother is blind. I would say, no, she can do everything. She's not blind. And the day I accepted that she's blind, my perspective changed. I took her to the blind school. I got her a white cane. I got her speaking software. I got the Google assistants. And, life is more meaningful, more valuable. Now you could do more fulfilling life, and so much more that you can do even if you cannot see. So that kind of a fighting spirit has running in the family. That's why my dad, my mom, both of them very positive people. I think more than my father's Alzheimer's, this thing, it was my mother who's always been a very positive person. We were not able to accept her depression. How can such a positive person get into depression? And then it took a while to understand, maybe she was a primary caregiver for my father. So the initial stages of the Alzheimer's, somewhere that caregiver burnout has happened. And, that's what it's taken a while for me to now completely change my perspective, look at them as 2-year-olds. And things are now I see so many beautiful things in them, around them, for myself. And the things I feel that I'm doing for them, I put her in a yoga class. Actually, I'm benefiting as well, right? I put her in a music class, I'm benefiting. I put her in a Bhagavad Gita class, I'm benefiting, right? I was sharing the other day in one of your sessions, I think they're still here for me to teach me how to gracefully, handle life. Still, they're still teaching me. So I think there's something beautiful that I've realized. And of course, and the best part of it, I think they are the reason for me and my siblings to get more and more closer. The bond is something that's never been like this earlier. So it's just getting everything better and better in a way, though there's only so much that I can do for the condition, but there are so many other things. So.
Right. Well, thank you for sharing this. So I'll just launch a quick poll. So we are actually running a little sloppy today because of change in laptops. But I would like the audience to also participate and please answer these questions as what is the most challenging aspect of caregiving for you or has been the most challenging aspect. I hope you all can see the poll. If I can request everybody to just please take a minute and answer these questions. Yeah, so the question is, what is the most challenging aspect of caregiving for you? Whether it's emotional stress, time management, financial constraint, lack of family support, and organizational support, or all of the above. So, great. So, we'll just share the poll results and
Surprised.
yeah. So can you see the results?
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
70% of people have reported emotional stress and 30% I think are saying all of the above. So it's very interesting. I was thinking that certain people will also look at lack of family support and financial constraint, but yeah. So I wanted to move on to my next question, and so this is really about working professionals. So right, so what I would like to ask each one of you, and no particular order, is that once you realize that this is the reality, then did any one of you think of leaving your job? And how did you handle that situation?
I can go.
Yeah, please.
I think naturally that thought comes, right? That's probably the first and foremost thought which comes to you, saying that you probably can do better if you're able to kind of give your full attention to the child. And hence, I've contemplated that all my life. Even today, I continue to contemplate, so to be honest, but I've never quit. So the reason being, of course, there has always been as you started off with, Archana, that thing in me, on many of us, to say that I want to have an identity beyond just a caregiver or a mother or whatever it is. So that drive has always been there. So that didn't let me quit despite the kind of challenges. But I am extremely grateful for the kind of support I've had, both at work front and at the family front, which has enabled me to keep going. That is extremely important. I think we all totally understand that. As I said, life is so unpredictable. We all see that in a caregiving situation, you need to deal with uncertainties, unpredictable situations. So the flexibility is the utmost need for me in my work front as well. So I've had the real luxury of having the most understanding supervisors all through, continue to have that, which is helping me. So all I have had to kind of set as kind of the expectations from my end with my workplace is to say that this is my situation, this is the kind of a flexibility. I will not compromise on any of the outcomes. So you leave it to me to make sure that the outcome is never ever impacted. But if you're able to understand these kind of situations which I will need the flexibility and be operating. And I think it went both ways. I was able to prove it on the ground as well, not letting things impact. So that kind of enabled them to give me that authority and the flexibility to operate the way it is. Of course, in my kind of a work situation in IT consulting, most of you understand, I had to put some more boundaries and constraints, the kind of a roles I would operate. For example, when I was working from India, I switched organizations because I didn't want to be working for US because evening hours are most important for me to kind of just be there. And that I chose non-travel jobs for many part of my career life, that I didn't want to kind of do that because I wanted to be there 100%, not really be away. So like that, I had to put in a lot more boundaries around what all I want to be compromising or not compromising on, even on the work front. And then I went about it. And of course, I will not stay back beyond 5 o'clock, right? Irrespective of what it is, whether I had to miss out on a lot of social gathering, even at the work or whatever, for at least 15, 16 years of my, or even 20 years, I compromised. I had to kind of give up all of that, which naturally all of us have to kind of do. But that's the kind of a thing, if you're able to put a boundary, that kind of helped to be able to kind of navigate through the challenges and still not quit it. But as you asked, I still go through that moments many a times. Should I quit and still kind of do that? That happens, never a solved question.
That's a question I think all of us ask when we are in corporate life. When should we hang our boots?
Irrespective of caregiving. True.
Irrespective of whether you're a caregiver or you're not.
True.
So, because the stress sooner or later always gets to us. Gaurav, I know, socially and culturally, nobody would expect you to give up your job, but did you have to make adjustments in your life?
Not really.
Okay. I think we lost you, Gaurav.
I've been fortunate to be fairly. Can you hear me?
Yeah, no.
That's fine.
Yes, we can hear you now. Yeah.
Okay. So I've been fairly senior in my organization because it's a small organization that I've been working for. So I have the flexibility. I have an amazing team that works with me. So that thought never came to my mind, at least. Um, in fact, that has opened up a lot of things with my team members, because there are few of them whom I have publicly spoken about my father's condition, and then we have shared a lot of thoughts on because again, every one of us in India, the problem is that no one knows about these things too much. So it was generally called a senile degeneration for the longest period of time. People used to say that, oh, he's growing old, right? And then so we've started talking. We generally have like a one session every month where we talk about these things with our team members, and then we just kind of trying to find out if everything is going well with the family members, especially the aged. That we have been doing it since the COVID pandemic time. So that has helped the team to again bind or bond together and work as a team. And these are the things which has uh, probably, to speak in look most corporate terms, has reduced the attrition rates a lot. Because now people are understanding these things, that you have, in case there is a genuine family problem, and you have to address it. Quitting probably will not help, in a sense that how long again. You can't really just be there and See, a caregiver also has to take care of themselves,
Absolutely. Yes.
right? So you don't want to be a patient before, you don't want to be a burden again to your family at some point of time. So rather than just try to find solutions, I think in India we have been fortunate. We have care providers available with us.
Yeah.
So whatever best you can do, and you do, and then just keep working, because you have to work for, you live for yourself. It's not about just about financial independence or financial constraints. It is also kind of not also your kind of ambitions. It is just a passion. Sometimes you just work for for just for the sake of working.
It's a distraction also. I would say for many
Yeah.
of, it's an engagement.
Yeah,
It's
maybe
an
a distraction.
engagement.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, it's an engagement. So so which is why I always say that yes, I never had that thought of quitting, and never thought of it.
No, I think I really like what you said about enrolling your team into this and building that support structure, whether it's informally or however, that, people around you understand your situation and you're educating them about the illness also, because like you
Yes.
said, many people do not even understand what this is. So I think that's uh, personally to me, it sounds like something really a very good tip for anybody who is going through this, to enroll their organization, their peers or their supervisors, so that there's an understanding of what you're going through. So Karuna, I mean to say, I won't ask you that whether you thought about quitting, but I mean to say, you have siblings, and you mentioned to me earlier as well that you kind of all of them probably are working. So how did you decide on how, like, did you share responsibilities? Did that help in any way, and at work also, was there support for you?
Yeah, definitely. We are four. We are three sisters and one brother. Uh, both my sisters are not actively into a so-called corporate job, but they have their own commitments. So all of us and my parents post their retirement. They were staying in Andhra in Vijayawada. I'm right now in Gurgaon, and the rest, all of us are in four different corners. So we used to kind of regularly keep going them, visiting them, and then the frequencies of visits increased. Uh, COVID time, of course, we were taking turns and being there back to back. Post this scenario came up, then we said we can't leave them, we can't pitch in, leave our home and go there. That's also not looking viable. They have to come and stay with us. So we tried with one sister for a few months there, another sister, and that's why I got them here for a while, just to know if it, it was just supposed to be a 2 month stay here with me around 2 years ago. Somehow things worked well, and they are like, if I can't still say settled, but they are kind of fine here. And while I'm here into a full-time job, between the four of us, we have a very unset, stated roster there. Someone or the other coming and taking, turns and putting up a few days of the month here, or as and when possible. So I've been blessed, I would say. That is something my parents have imbibed in the four of us. I think it's coming very organically to all of us, and we share the same spirit in terms of not looking at this as a burden, but looking at it as a responsibility, and very gracefully accepting it, and and hoping that we are able to do the same with our children as well, that they are able to learn from here. So touch wood, it's been going well. Uh, I think it took a while for our extended families also to understand, appreciate what was. Personally, I can say I was not very communicative. I was expecting everyone to understand what I'm going through as a caregiver, my responsibilities towards my in-laws, my family, my work, my parents, etc. I think one needs to communicate, and there is help available. People do understand. You tend to look at only your own journey. You don't understand that rest of the family is also going through their own individual journey. So it's important to talk and share, and that has helped solve many things. I would have helped make things very easy. Another thing is that you hold on to unnecessary points, unnecessary statements, unnecessary comments, unnecessary remarks, make it difficult for yourself. And I think you just need to let it go. It's okay. Not everyone needs to understand. Not everyone can understand. It's okay. Work front again, I think my pre-caregiver phase, if I can call it, typical corporate thing. I want to leave this job. This is not what I want. Blah blah blah. That would go, and literally every few months, I would tell my husband, would say, please don't sit at home. You're going to make our life hell if you sit at home. Never think of quitting your job for us. And after this, I would say, no, I need to quit. How, the feeling of the responsibility of a of a child to the parents, it can't be done. I have to leave my job and things like that. But then I think right time, right set of friends and suggestions, exploring some of the policies that are there with the organization. My boss also, his mother has dementia. That helped him understand my situation. And then I said, once you start to share, communicate, you see so many other people going through similar journeys, sharing their experience, and you realize this is not a solution. You can't leave job. And I need the job. I need the job for my own mental sanity, if not a financial thing or any other passion. Or I need it for my mental sanity, and I started to appreciate and value my job more now than ever. I think I was taking it for granted, what it can give, and I need it, and I think that it's going fine now.
Great. No, so I'll just share a small joke for my mother or for our parents' generation, because they were in the government jobs. So when my kid was small, she would say, just take off, apply for leave. And, it's very difficult to explain to that generation that applying for leave is as good as being absent and losing a lot on the work front in the corporate sector. That is a fact. That's a reality. So, so it used to be always a tussle for me when I was not a caregiver, but even when I'm bringing up a child, that pressure was always there. Like you said, you have to let it go. And so very interesting conversations are coming through. And I think we spoke about flexi timings and setting boundaries. You spoke about changing the role profile. And Gaurav talked about roping in his team into this whole discussion, and getting everybody to at least try to see their point of view. And I think one of the most important things which are also coming to me from this is a very supportive family structure, if I may say that, which I'm hearing. So yeah, and I would like, Tapas is sharing something. Leaving job is, Tapas, would you like to come in? Leaving job is never a good idea, but a lot of people switch assignments within their own organization, something which gives them a lot of flexibility.
Yeah, I just wanted to say that, can you hear me? I am not in a way
position. Yes.
I'm not switching on my camera.
Yeah.
So sometimes what happens, many offices these days don't want to lose a good employee, and nor would you like to lose the entire job. So there are always assignments which are probably not as demanding as your current one. So organizations often take a very lenient view of that and says, okay, fine, you can't do this. Why don't you do this part of it? Something that you're good at, and something which will take a newcomer 8 hours to do, you'll be able to do it in 4 hours. So, and I've seen organizations being very open to that sort of a thing. So I just thought I'd just put that on the table.
Sure. Anybody else wants to share their experience? Anybody would like to come in? I would like to call in Jayashree. She's my co-founder, Jayashree, and she's a psychologist. Jayashree, would you like to come in and, you've been hearing this conversation. Any perspective from your end?
Thanks a lot, Archana. And I think the discussion's been really interesting because it's highlighted a lot of things that we hear people whom we work with raise, particularly around, I think what really stood out for me the most was the lack of understanding that people have, the lack of awareness I know you mentioned, all of you mentioned this, that it's sometimes it's really hard to explain what's going on to others. And I was just wondering whether when you do that, and I think some of you also mentioned it, that people do seem to understand, though. There's something or the other that they can relate to, but there is this initial, like a hesitancy to kind of also open up about it. And I think that's where, the acceptance is really like, it's challenging. It's hugely challenging. But when you accept it, you can start to talk to people. And most of the caregivers whom I work with actually are surprised when they get a very supportive response from others. And I think even the point that Tapas raised was very interesting, because I would love to see more organizations doing the kind of thing that he's suggesting, where they're offering flexibility to people who have these kind of commitments back home. And it really does begin with voicing exactly what's going on, and that's something which only someone who's experiencing it is really a best place to do. As professionals, we kind of come in to provide the support that we are able to provide, but it's a person who's, and really the family member who's dealing with this, these kind of commitments, these kind of challenges, or on a daily basis. It's really important for them to also see where they can voice the kind of concerns they have, and get the support that requires them to not give up or make compromises, because I think that's not something which is in anyone's best interests.
Absolutely. And I would just like to bring in here, so we work with Accenture, and it's very interesting that they have some excellent programs for caregivers. They recognize caregivers, employees who are in caregiving roles, as as somebody who needs special attention or support, and they have kind of brought in a caregiver program, which is a part of their DI initiative. And I was fortunate enough to be in one of those sessions. They had invited me. So, and caregivers are across age, like they could be caring for anyone. So I think more and more organizations, it was very inspiring, need to recognize this fact that, as the younger generation, and there's going to be a population diversity in India, right? There are going to be more old people and young people, and so there's not going to be anything in the middle, and there will not be enough people to care for the elderly. So the younger generation today is what is happening in America, where there is I was talking about some statistics and research that is already happening in India. It's just highly unrecognized, and there's a need for doing more on that front in terms of gathering data, as well as creating support structures within organizations for employees who are in these roles. So that's just I wanted to add that. So we are actually, unfortunately, we're running a little late now, but I now wanted to come to some, ask you all that what are the kind of self-care strategies? You talked about how you realigned your lives and your work and your priorities, but now let's talk about you, because you are the most important person in this room. So what self-care strategies, have worked for you, and what do you indulge in? So Karuna, why don't you start?
Yeah, I kind of try to reserve my Sunday mornings as much as possible to meet up with friends. Because Sunday morning is like the rest of the family is sleeping. Sunday morning I can get an excuse. Nobody should ask me. It's kind of an unsaid rule. People are getting used to me stepping out on Sunday mornings. I go for a heritage walk. I look out for heritage walks, if possible, being organized. Once there was a photo heritage walk at Qutub Minar, and and then you go there, you meet new people, and there is so much more of networking and so many more stories to learn and share, and the energy flows through the week, right? So that's one thing I try to do actively. I think my me time and catching up with friends, and yeah, primarily that.
Okay, great. Lavanya? And the rest of us can also please start typing in your responses. This is for everyone.
Yeah, I think that acknowledgement and awareness in terms of having to kind of take that time off came very late. A friend of mine kind of influenced me in this recently, a couple of years ago, when things were really going down south, as I was telling, there was no time left for self-care, right? I mean, like you always like there is so much more to go and give and care for. So how is it that you are able to? So the friend prodded me to kind of take some simple goals, personal goals for yourself to work towards. So it just started off with a 15-minute run kind of a thing. I was never a runner, never an athlete, never any of those, but just something to challenge yourself and work towards. So that will kind of one motivate you to kind of go towards and once you achieve anything on that front, that gives you so much satisfaction and happiness that you're able to do better at whether your work or caregiving or whatever it is. So that really helped me. I mean, to the extent that over a couple of years, from 15-minute run, I managed a 10-kilometer run, which I never ever thought I could ever do that. I mean, so that is a kind of a self-care thing, which I think is I'm trying to adopt on and off small little goals you set for yourself that forces you to take some time for yourself and gives you that sense of satisfaction, which brings the overall happiness to the ecosystem.
Okay, great. So the physical fitness helps you to release your energies as well and recharge. Great, great. Gaurav?
No, I like to travel, so
Okay.
I try to travel as much as possible. Every quarter I try. I have a teenage daughter, so that is also something which I want to cherish till the time she grows up and stops traveling with us. Uh, so I just want that need to make memories there also. Um, so yeah, I travel once 3 months or so. Apart from that, on a daily basis, I make sure I have some personal time available with me. I used to go on a walk without on a run without my cell phones. Now I've stopped doing that because again. At one point of time, it was easier for me. Now I am kind of want to stay connected in case something is required. Um, so those 30, 40 of minutes of my that used to be very therapeutic for me at one point of time. But yes, now I'm carrying my cell phone with me. I just shut myself in a room, read a book. I will tell everyone, including my care provider also, that please don't disturb me for an hour. I just need to be with myself. So as I said before, I said a caregiver also has to take care of themselves.
Absolutely. Yeah. You can't pour out of an empty cup. Yesterday was said.
Yes,
Today, so
yes.
we kind of.
I mean, when I took my parents to, because both my parents with mental health, I was taking to Dr. Vipul Rastogi, and he said, ma'am, I think they're going to be fine. I'm worried about you. And then it dawned on me, I was sounding so paranoid, so worried about everything, and then I realized, and another friend said, "You're too invested in your parents." Honestly, I didn't like when she said that, but I realized that I was not investing enough in the other relations, right? As we need to make memories, and the energies flow in the ecosystem, the way Lavanya nicely put.
Especially, I think, relationship with yourself.
Yep, starts with that. Then, with your spouse, with your child, with your in-laws, everyone around, friends.
And you have to be selfish about it. I mean, to say we keep advocating that a lot, and you cannot be on a guilt trip or anything, and to take out that time for yourself. Jayashree, as an expert in self-care strategies, any advice you would like to bring in?
I think I mean, I hate being called the expert in self-care because I have to admit it's something which I struggle with myself as well. It's hard. You have to keep reminding yourself and keep at it. It's easy to, it's harder to practice what you preach. But whatever works for you. I was just thinking about the first time when I realized what self-care was for me. I am also a mother. And I remember distinctly the joy of just having a quiet bath. And that was like, wow, I never, for me, it really as as a psychologist, when the tables actually turn and you experience what joy, even something so simple and small means, that was a huge aha moment for me. And this was something which was, you can do this every day, but it was the fact that I really experienced enjoying just being in my my space, not having people demanding something from me at that time. So it can be anything from something that's very small to something like where you plan actively to pursue something that you haven't done before, setting goals for yourself, to just experiencing a moment. So whatever works for you. And I think having a combination is important, because you may need to, as caregivers, you need to have to experiment with different things across the journey. The same thing may not work all the time, because you just can't do that.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. Very well said. So just for the audience, we'd like to launch a short, quick poll and just ask everybody which of these self-care strategies has been most effective for you. May I just request everybody to take a minute and answer this question? And you don't need to be a caregiver to do self-care. So you can, like Jayashree said, even a psychologist will need self-care. Okay. Any other responses? Okay, great. So I'm just sharing the results. Taking regular short breaks, engaging in hobbies and personal interests, and mindfulness, meditation, maintaining consistency of routine, seeking support from friends, and all of the above. Excellent. Yes, Tapas, you're raising your hand. Would you like to come in?
Yeah, I just wanted to say something a little slightly radical and very unconventional. You may actually boo me out of the webinar, but I'll just still go ahead and say it. One of the things that really, really helps, okay, is self-pity. It really, really works. I know it's very unconventional. I know you always go around and say, hey, listen, I don't want any self-pity, but it really works. Make a martyr out of yourself, and it just keeps you going. It says, hey, listen, I'm doing it. I'm earning karma brownies, and it's just the kind of thing which helps. So you can dump the conventional thing of self-pity being bad. Self-pity is wonderful. It gives so much strength. That's my bit.
Great, great. Thank you for sharing that. Anybody else would like to come in and share anything which has worked for them in terms of self-care or any other experiences?
Hi, I'm Joan. Yeah, so I had been a caregiver to my mom. That I think that's 5 years ago. Sorry, I'm not putting my camera on because my
That's
battery
fine.
is pretty low.
Yeah.
In my very challenging journey, I learned a lot. But it was in the learning that my perspective changed. It was in the learning that I grew. It was in the learning that I became more empathetic and compassionate. And today, with everything that I learned, yes, I needed a lot of respite because I was a primary caregiver. And being a primary caregiver is not so easy. It's the most challenging thing. And with that comes a lot of resentment. And there comes a lot of things that you don't think you would even think of, So with that, but in those challenges where if you get your respite um, in the way that you would like to navigate, I would say that please take your breaks. Please recharge yourself because that's the most important thing that you could do for yourselves to bring the best out of you to support your loved ones. And because every time I took a recharge by either going out, it can be anything from meditation, just a short walk, or just being with the friends for a coffee, or it can be just reading a book. It can be anything. But that small moments gave me the better of me to navigate my journey. So it was the most challenging, but today I am an art-based therapist, expressive art-based, and I was in the airline industry. I was marketing sales manager for Western India. How my perspective changed from selling seats, working on targets, to being an expressive art-based therapist today and navigating my journey today in a much more fruitful way where I go to cancer patients, where I work with them, bring the best out of them, see the 2 hours that I work on sessions with them is something that I can just bring the happiness, the care, the love, the empathy that I always wanted to give my mom, and I did my best, and I'm doing my best today. So this is sometimes you are placed in these places, not it's a journey that sometimes you look at it maybe as the biggest challenge, but today, 5 years from what I learned, I'm navigating it in such a beautiful way that I'm doing the best that I can. And people sometimes don't understand me even now. They say you can go back to the airline industry. But I say, no, this is something that I've chosen and I can see the pain in people and how I bring the best out of them. So there's healing in me, there's healing for them, and I am making the world a little better in the view I look at it and making it a better place for them and me. Yeah. Thanks.
Thank you for sharing that. That's very well said and very inspiring as well. So yeah, it's
Yes.
um,
Can I come in for a minute? Am I audible, Archana?
yes, yeah.
Okay. I don't know. My video is not opening up. Anyway, so I was just wanted to say thank you to all the panelists. You all have shown a side of you which is incredible. You know, your patience, your kindness, your grace is absolutely amazing. And thanks to Jo for bringing in that element about how she came back. So let me tell you one thing that, these journeys transform you completely. You become a very different person from what you started with. You will have different skills. You will have a different kind of an understanding, may even grow a halo behind your head, and then come and listen to other panelists. Though we are not really caregivers anymore, me and my husband, we did that journey for 12 years with our parents with Alzheimer and dementia. Uh, uh, but we are very different people now. And the compassion and kindness we always had. I look at Karuna, I look at her grace and her patience, in fact, which all of you have. I say, we were all invested in our parents. And everybody came and told us, that is where your life went. Just look at you. Even now, 2 years after everything is over, all three are gone. We still have to prove ourselves that maybe we are not good for the industries that we are in. We have to explain ourselves. We haven't gone back the way we had started our journeys. So yes, people call it slowing down. People say that we have aged. People are not sympathetic, those who do not know. So you are the chosen ones.
And it's a very uncertain and an incredible journey of transformation. If you want to keep that kindness and patience alive and compassion going, you will have to take a lot of self-care and have empathetic friends around you who will keep reminding you, go Lavanya, go, run. Gaurav, you can take the phone and run longer today. I got addicted to the phone because I would be waiting for that phone, almost anticipating an accident to happen and to have to run back home. Karuna, take your Sunday walks. We still have to push ourselves to do, our walks, because something roots us to the house even now, while none of them are around, and we feel no motivation to go out and take that heritage walk. So what lies after? One has to be prepared for that on every day. So you have friends in Samvedna, you have friends in Jayashree, Archana, and us. So lean on each other and take as much support from each other as possible. Lean. Don't be ashamed of leaning or falling apart in each other's arms. All the best to all of you. Thank you.
Thank you so
I
much.
would also like to wish everybody. It's been so good. I don't know. I just saw this. The invite coming to me. I said yes, caregiving, caregiving. It just stands out for me. Because I've been in this journey. There are many people who don't understand it. Sorry, I'm come back again. But caregiving has been it has been challenging, but the best part of it's been the best thing that has happened to me today. I'm not having any regrets. I've learned so much and I'm navigating so beautifully. And I know it'll be a beautiful journey to all you guys. You're doing so much. You're doing so good. I was like, it was like I had to learn so much, but you're navigating your journey so much better than what I did, I think. So just keep hanging on and taking support. Support is very important. Yeah. So please do that and wish you all the best.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. No, I think Anubha, you put it very beautifully and summarized this whole conversation. So I really want to thank each one of you for sharing your story. That takes a lot of courage, and I'm sure that this video today, there are a lot of people who will be watching it later also. You are inspiring. You're an inspiration for other people, and how you are navigating your journey and, setting your boundaries, roping in the help, as well as, accepting your situation. I think that's the most important thing. And it's a very interesting conversation about acceptance I heard today. So, and it can be a gradual acceptance as well, because sometimes you don't know what's coming your way. And so thank you so much for sharing this. We covered a lot of areas. We spoke about self-care strategies, and I think me time, which is the most important thing. I'd also, really emphasize on organizations to create a certain support structure for people who are in caregiving roles, so that they don't fall out of the career paths. And because it's going to be temporary, there will be a tumble down, and then you will stabilize at some point. There will be some upheavals, but then we all will learn the art of caregiving, and we will navigate through that. So and that's very important, because otherwise you will be lost in this whole journey, and that's not to be. Thank you so much once again, and I hope you all had also further insights from everyone's discussion. Thank you so much for joining. We'll share the recording, and please feel free to share it in other groups. I'm really sorry about this whole technical glitch which happened. So we lost a lot of audience on LinkedIn because of all this. So sorry about that. Thank you.
No, please, thank you for having us. Thank you.
Thank
Wonderful
you.
listening to everybody.
Thank you,
Thank you.
Samvedna, for organizing this. Thank you. We need more of these.
Yeah.